All right, so we are now live and recording. We're going to upload this to YouTube as well for people who cannot be with us. So looking at the weekly, let's start with a few simple things as we always do. All right, so we're having liquidity zone at the bottom, okay? And then we're having the expansion away. Now we're breaking all-time highs and we are consolidating at the top. Okay, so there's a few things that is important to notice, and that is, for one, we had some divergence, but we always going to have divergence as price moving into extreme levels. Like when you're having a 200% move on a weekly, you will see bearish divergence, you will get sell signals, okay? And that's just part of it, because what buy and sell signals is that you're getting into the extreme side of things. So let's just do this example so people understand. So if you imagine that trading is just a range, all we have is a range in okay, when price moves on the extreme side away from a range, that's when you get buy signals, right? And when price moves into the extreme of the other side, that's when you get sell signals. All right, now since price can move up much greater than price can move down, right? So if you have a chart, if this is the top, okay, for price to move down, if it goes into 99% drawdown, the buy signals will be extreme, okay? But the buy signals will also be extremely valid because you can only go so much down, right? While on the other side, if price moves 100% to the upside, you will get a sell signal, but price can still move 200% more to the upside, right? Because upside can actually be basically infinity, right? Until every Bitcoin is mined and whatever. So upside, you know, you can use the word like we have infinity to upside. So you can't trust sell signals the same way you trust buy signals. Buy signals, therefore, is more rare, the most seldom, and they're extremely important compared to what sell signals are. Sell signals is just, you know, to tell you you're being cautious and whatnot, and understand that you're getting on the extreme side of things, right? So that's the one thing. The other thing I want to mention here is that if you look on the bottom of my indicator, and let's just pull this up slightly better and pull it out here. So for one thing, you can see that we're having a lot of more to go on the main cycle, right? So the cycle on this cycle indicator, you can see that this is sort of the bottom, right? This is the sort of the cycle where we're having the bottom, this being the bottom of that cycle. So I assume now that the top of the cycle on the weekly of this long-term indicator is going to be, should be, you know, away from post 2025, okay, after this year. You can see that we're only loading around these levels. Now the other interesting part that I want to mention here, if you look at this cycle indicator and I pull this up, and you can see I put the opacity a bit lower, okay? So essentially you can see here that we're starting this, sorry, give me a second, this was the cycle, right? So you can see this here, we're coming down, this was sort of the top, okay? And we used all of this time to come to the bottom of the cycle here, and that we're getting close, in my opinion, to potentially, you know, having the bottom. So you can see if we're coming here, this is where you see the extreme color, that's where we are, okay? So this is where we are. So this can be sort of the bottom now of a compression, okay? And then we're moving to the upside. In terms of the weekly, okay, that's one theory. Of course, we can go lower. Now, the other thing I want to explain here as well is we have to look at the Bitcoin index, okay, Bitcoin index of all-time price history. If we take now, we go to log scale, we move all the way out, right? So I mentioned this a few times. And I also posted a tweet about this, so let's just do it very quickly, just to discuss this as well on the stream. I can't remember exactly, so bear with me, I can be wrong on the dates, if it's on this date or that, I can't remember. But we're having these consolidations when we had the previous halvenings, right? So we're having some halvenings around these times something like this. I can't remember exactly. Okay, so just I'm not gonna pull up the tweet. I have it posted on my Twitter. You know, if you're interested, you can go and take a look at that. But what I want to show you guys is that we're having now this one, and then now we're having the next cycle, right? So the next cycle is we're having the next halving here, but we also have a bullish cycle, right? So this is a bullish trend, and you know, most people are aware and agree upon this. So if you look at this, right, we can argue that we're having these levels that will be of extremely important, right? So you can argue that we are actually just getting started, right? We're just getting started, and that's sort of part of the game here. And I think it's a high probability of this, right? We might move slightly down, okay? And the other part that you have to notice as well is that when we're having these events, there is a seasonality going into S&P 500 and all indices, and as well as Bitcoin. We're having a contraction often from April until summer months. Very often contraction, but the contraction can be 100 different ways, right? So the contraction can actually be, it can be for Bitcoin to move from 60K to 80K, and from 80K back down to 70K. That can be the contraction, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, we can move like this, and then compress, and then we go like this, right? After the halving and after the summer, right? So the contraction can be viewable in different ways, but the contraction can also be to the downside. Now, generally speaking, we're having end of April, or April and May is usually very good months for crypto. June doesn't really have seasonality, and then we're having August and September. August and September is always really bearish, okay? And then we're having seasonality coming in for end of September, beginning of October, and November is usually very bullish months. And then you're having a December rally, Christmas rally going into the next year. And if the cycle continues, you will have sort of the same, you know, bullish uptrend until February, March, or April. One of those months, really depends on price action. And if we are yeah, okay, I will fix that next time, guys. Okay, I will take a look at it. So just continue, I will fix it to next stream. So basically, each seasonality and cycle has their own thing, okay? So if you understand now seasonality, all right? So the seasonality is that we expect price to compress in some way or the other until October. From October, we expect a big rally, okay? Now we are creating a roadmap for what and how we're going to approach trading, okay? And at the same time as we're having this particular seasonality, we also know that we're now having the halving, which is a cycle, right? So halving is cycle based. So we understand now that our game plan will then be that we are expecting some kind of price action looking like this, essentially, okay? This is our roadmap. Now, of course, I'm not saying we're going to 400,000, but I'm saying that in terms of price action, we're expecting price to move somewhat sideways until after the summer, and from October we expect price to start an uptrend. Okay, so what I found interesting as well, if you don't believe this October rally, you can just go back to every single date. So let me just give you an example here. So let's go ahead. So I'm gonna share all of these October and November places, okay? So you can see that from every single time price has gone into October, we're having a rally, except of bear markets. Bear market doesn't count because bear market has its own seasonality, all right? So every single time we're getting into an October, keep in mind, bear market, right? So you had a bear market in 19 for crypto, so that doesn't count. And then let's take a look here. Bear market again. Every time you move back, you can see here that October is always a bullish time, okay? So the rule set of here, so now plotting in all the October ones except during bear markets, right? So in a bull market, let me see here. So in a bull market, you always have October rallies. So you're expecting extreme price action from October. Okay, so I can put on, I can continue with this, but it will be a bit boring. But you can see here from the chart here that every single time we're going into October, you can see there is a rally. Okay, so always we compress. We can also always expand pre-rallies. Okay, pre-October. I'm not saying you have to wait for October for price to go up, but the big rally always occurs after October. Okay, and that's the seasonality of it. And now we're having also the cycle seasonality coming in for crypto. So this is something, or this is the way to create a roadmap for us moving forward into trading. All right. So now that we're having a plan of how we're going to trade this, we can move forward and look at chart in a different matter, right? So now we're not obsessed with getting into 100K, or we are not expecting altcoin bull market before next year. Okay, so now you have to view the market as we are in a pause, and you have to look for the place. There will always be narratives being pushed, right? So you had the DeFi summer. I can't remember what we had last summer, but we also always have narratives, and then price will move, okay, in different ways. And we can always get behind that, but the big price run will not be there, most likely. Okay, now let's take a look at some other stuff here. So on a weekly, let's take this one. So on a weekly, there is nothing too much here. We're getting some buyback, which is good. The good part is not before the daily chart. So on the daily chart, we're having a buy signal currently. If you're having a close on the daily, okay, which is really good. I think we also have on the indicator here, we're getting close. It's a start here. Okay, so we're having a potential bottom being formed. So if I take you here, so look at the bottom of this of the cycle indicator, you can see that we're having a buy signal close to the bottom here, which means that we can have a rally in towards at least into end of April potentially. All right, take that with a grain of salt, but it is looking good. Now, if you look here on the price action, okay, so this is how we look on a daily with candlesticks, right? So candlesticks as well looking great. You can see how we grab liquidity from the bottom, expansion above, and we're closing now. We're engulfing 1, 2, 3 candles. Okay, so we are engulfing 3 candles for Bitcoin. Okay, that's extremely bullish. Now, if you go further lower now to the 8-hour chart, we're having a decent buy signal here, as you can see. We're having 3, 5, 6 reversal signals. We're having extreme anomaly out of Bollinger Bands. Okay, so the green hill, the green smoke there is basically how extreme we move away from the current average price. Okay, and we're getting pretty extreme. And if you look back, right, so which is important. Why do they disappear? So if you look back, I don't know why it disappeared. It should be anyhow. The previous time we had these kind of buy signals was around the bottom of 38,000, 40,000. Okay, that was the last time. Okay, so this red background symbolizes smart money. Okay, so having some smart money coming into the market as well. So and the previous time before that as well, it was all-time lows. So we haven't had any proper buy signals actually before this. Okay, and the reason for that is that each of these candles, each time we try to drive lower, we're having engulfing price action, meaning that the candle is closing back up. That's what happens. Okay, so the candle is closing back up, and that is what is causing these signals. Okay, so let me just show you this very quickly so you understand. So it's just a price. We're having candles moving like this, right? we sell off and we close back up, and then we sort of engulf, and then we move sideways. Whatever price sells off, we engulf again, and we create sort of an engulfing like this. And that's in itself, this is not bullish pattern. It just shows signals. Often what that is that it's basically creating divergence. Divergence is price trying to break lower fails, right? That is momentum. So you're getting lower lows on the chart, and you often get higher lows on the indicators, causing divergence. That is giving buy signals on some of these indicators, right? So it's nothing, it's not magic. It's just that over time you're having probabilities on your side, okay, technically. Now the other part, of course, technically, is that we're having, in terms of price action, simple price action, is that you're having these lows, okay, price moving into the weak side, right, and we're reacting. Okay, so we're reacting into this weak side. Now price needs to hold current levels. Okay, so we had the 8-hour close, which means this is very strong. Okay, and now we need to see how the daily holds at this level as well. Now theoretically, this looks extremely good. All right, but of course it can change very quickly. Right, that's the thing, because we are not in a phase of accumulation at the bottom of a range. Right, we're sitting at after major expansion, we're going sideways, and we're trying to contract and create liquidity and strength for further upside. So we completely different place in terms of PA, right? So when you are trading all-time highs like this, it's extremely difficult. Okay, and that's it. Nobody can say anything different, right? That's just a reality. Now let's quickly look at S&P 500 as well. So you can see here, what I want to just show you very quickly is that we're having as well 8-hour buy signal coming in, but we had them during the divergence, right? So the buy signals was actually this range that we were creating. Let me show you here. So this range that we were creating, because price was selling off, closing back up, selling off, closing back up, and that was triggering buy signals. Okay, and on the CO2, the COT. We're having smart money coming in. You can see here on the green sides there. Smart money is coming into the market as well. And we're moving in here at the bottom of this cycle and the next short-term cycle as well. So we're having some arguments for a potential bottom, and the same goes for that. We're having pre-opening hours while everybody was sleeping. You had people swiping, or bots basically based on the news swiping the books here, okay, causing this liquidity crash. Okay, and then price is forced to respond when the markets open, and when Iran said that they won't retaliate at the moment if Israel stops as well. So we're having a few arguments here, that is bullish, because most of the time, quite often, news is usually the bottom. Okay, so you can use that example for FTX. When FTX went down, like the worst of the worst happened, that's the buy signal, right? Because the worst happened. So the sell-off you get when the worst happened, that is the worst happened, right? It's like if you're in a bicycle crash or whatever, or in a fight, when you are in the crash or whatever, in the fight, when the fight is over, when you get the final news, basically, or whatever, that's the worst condition you will be in. Okay, and then you go to the hospital or whatever. It's a bad analogy. I just want to get a message across here. Often you will see that when the news hit, that's the bottom or the top. That's why you're having sell the news event, is because it's not just anticipation that people have, but it also that's what's the reality of it. And then markets continue, and you can have escalation of something and whatever, okay? But quite often that's when price reacts. So we're having an argument, okay? This now is an argument for a potential bottom. Now we don't have any buy signals yet on the indicator. Any buy signals on the daily. You can see, if you look here on the bottom here, let me pull this up. You can see at the bottom we had extremely good buy signals. We don't get them on a daily very often. You can see very rare you get them. It's only during extreme volatility for S&P 500. You can have October, you had some decent buy signals as well. So we're not getting them very often, okay? So if we get them on a daily, that would be extremely good. So if this daily and the next daily potentially engulfs and starting to trade above some of this level, I think we're gonna get some daily buy signals as well. But at the moment, we are not there, but still, on the 8 hour, it is pretty good as well, okay? And you can see that we're having some decent buyback, okay? So keep in mind that if we're starting to close now above, I might put this to the daily. So if you're closing now, this candlestick, you can see this last candle, if this is starting to close above and engulf some of these previous candles, we have a very good argument for a bottom, all right? So keep in mind this. So we're having this one. If this now turns to whatever Twitter likes to call a deviation above this, that's probably going to trigger a lot of buy signals, okay? And you can see how we had a trend change here on the EMA as well, right? And if you're starting to trade above the 5K mark, that's probably also going to be a major buy signal for equities, okay? So I would personally prefer to just move sideways. So if we can create a range here, let's say 5,500 and 4,900 as the bottom, and we can create this range over the summer, okay, and get some liquidity and then get the rally as we discussed previously. That would be really good, okay? Let's see. So now we discussed that. Let's do a very quick look at the dollar chart, just to see how we are standing here. If you're having some sell signals coming in, no major, but we're having a cycle here. So you can see a cycle. We're having the beginning of a next one. So here you can see how we had the bottom cycle on the 4 hour, okay, buy signal at the lows there, okay, and then we had the move up. And as I mentioned, keep in mind we're having some sell signals, but I overlook sell signals, all right? Remember that sell signals is only is completely different, okay? Sell signals is not used in the same way as buy signals. And you can clearly see here on the chart how we're having each of these bottom being called, and we have a cycle change here. That's of interest. So we can see, right? So you're having as well the block here of liquidity in just simple price action, right? Retest into this potential lower high, whatever, okay? Doesn't matter if it's a lower high, but we moved into liquidity, okay? And we can potentially get a reaction. Let's check the 8 hour. We're having an 8 hour sell signal, okay? That's decent. Yeah, I like this, all right? So I think we're having some chance here. Let's do the 3 hour, the weekly. Yeah, so we're into the weekly highs as well. And we're moving towards the bottom of this cycle as well. Okay, so you can see if I put this on. All right, so that's highly interesting. Okay, so we're getting into some levels of interest, at least generally speaking. Let me just do a quick look here on, look at this. Buy signals. Let's go to the 8 hour. Yeah, so we're getting decent buy signals right there. We're getting new ones. 8 hour, 4 hour. I just want to do a complete analysis here. And the daily, we're getting some daily signals as well. Okay, so this is not bad, right? So we're having potential confluence across the markets, cross markets confluence for an argument here. Let's go back into some of the trades we are in. Quick look. If you guys want me to cover some altcoins, let me know. So here as well, you can see, I think this looks very good, to be honest, right? So yeah, we're having a lot of smart money coming in, buy signal. We should get another buy signal soon if we get a decent close. If you're looking at the cycle as well, you can see this here, and now you use some time, but we can get back up. Okay, I think this looks fairly decent. In terms of price action here, we can see on the daily, right? This is bullish, right? Bullish candlestick pattern as well. So it's good, all right? So I'm happy with this to create a potential range to move higher. There's a major argument there to be made. All right, I think this looks good. I think overall Runa looks good. AVAX, we should trade. You can see also this is building sort of a base here, right? A support, a lot of buy signals coming into this range, right? So if this is going to release, we're going to move up into this area of liquidity, closing in the gap and the inefficient leg here on the other side. Okay, this 8-hour chart, I think it looks fairly good, to be honest. All right, and we are at the bottom range there of our liquidity level. You see price try to reach the lows there into the lowest part of liquidity. This looks good, right? Nobody can say it different, right? Doesn't mean that we have to move up. Okay, we rated these levels. Here you got, sort of your stop rate, right? And then potentially price moving higher. I think we are looking good. Which other FTM? People are probably in FTM as is the first one. Looks good. A lot of decent amount of smart money is coming in. Look at the sorry, this is something wrong with the indicator on this FTM chart. Yeah, doesn't matter. Okay, but you can still see how we're getting smart money at the bottom. Smart money. Okay, it's commercials from the CO2 that it measures. Right, so you can see we're getting people in here, and we're starting to get green here as well. So that's good. And we're having some decent amount of buy signals. No, this I see what it is. Okay, never mind. So some buy signals right there. We're having new buy signals coming in here. So we're creating this range as well, as you see here, potential accumulation. Okay, and if that goes, if we release to the upside, right, we're gonna run inefficiently back up into some of these important levels, right? That's the bullish case. Of course, we're having the bearish cases. This is resistance, fails, rates closing back down, and then you're moving lower and just sort of creating a larger range, right, and then moving up. That's possible as well. But we are traders, and we take the risk when market is giving us some signals, and we get out if there are some issues. Yeah, I think that's about it for altcoins. If you guys want me to take a look at some other altcoins, I'll do a quick scan. Move into there we go. Okay, so we are looking decent. So let me just check for some questions. I trade, when I'm trading actively, I always trade with leverage. When I want to hold for a long time and have no stop loss, I use spot. Okay, so spot is something I don't really watch, right? So if I buy spot in, for example, October, my plan is to hold until Christmas or post Christmas, like it's a longer hold, right? So for example, if we sell off extreme into these lows, I just buy some spot and I keep it. Okay, that's it. Engine coin, I can take a quick look soon. Let's take a look at engine coin. Yeah, that looks really good. I saw the bottom on engine coin. I just had to release some risk. It was too much risk on my account, so I had to do it. But that's totally fine. It was in break even and price went up back up. Engine coin looks good. It's just that if you look closely, the range is very large, so it's not a great place. You have to have the stop loss somewhere. And sometimes I don't like that too much, right? So the stop loss has to go below one of these pivots, so that means that the entry has to be somewhere around those levels. Okay, so a 1R would then be right there. Okay, and the R to R is not too great. That means that the R to R should be around the 40, which I think is very likely, or even into liquidity levels around 50 is very likely as well. But I think I just I don't know. It's not my favorite setup. It looks great, but to trade is not my favorite setup in terms of the RR. Right, the structure is good, but I think it's a bit waste of money. I think there are better options. Yesterday was good, but I got shaken up. Yeah, you know, it's completely different. You know, you will learn it after a while. You know, it's not easy. Okay, that's it. Will never be easy. Okay, you won't have anything. Trading is not easy. Okay, that's it. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody knows it, right? Anybody who's been trading, they know it's not easy. Those who say it easy, they are either larping, not trading. It's supposed to be difficult, right? It's like you playing the big league, right? If you want to make money trading, you playing against the best guys, right? And then the best, the absolute top retail traders, they're around 2% of the market, right? And in equities, not in crypto. I don't know, in crypto nobody has measured it, but in equities, in FX, and in equities, I think retail is around 2% or something. So we are, like, people say they're going from a stop loss. You know, your stop loss means nothing to those players. Like, there's completely different level. So let's just do a quick scan. I think we can watch. Let's do candlesticks, and let's do daily. I think daily is nice. So you can see it looks good. That's the thing. Most charts now are starting to look very good. All right, but you don't want to take too much risk. This looks actually really good, to be honest. This I'm probably gonna buy some spot. GLM spot is actually can be a strong trade. Okay, I'm gonna share that soon. Let's do some of these. These AI coins are looking really good, to be honest. I don't want to use. I don't like Ocean anymore. Okay, I used to like Ocean. It was pretty nice range, but it seems that liquidity is too low and we're getting too extreme wicks. So I'm gonna start sticking with FET. Probably only FET. I think it's enough. I think this looks actually really good, guys. It actually looks really good. So I'm gonna wait a bit and then do a daily trade on it. So I think we should probably range and move towards all-time high from current level, unless you're getting a McDonald's pattern, right? But who cares, right? If you get a McDonald's pattern, you take some profit and you re-enter lower, okay, and then you move higher. All right, so we're looking good, to be honest. Near as well, looking pretty good here. Everything looks good. Everything looks good, guys. No joke. The Bitcoin is flying. We're looking good. Let's see how things goes. All right. So it will really depend on the New York close. Let's see. Okay, I don't want to get big hopes up too fast, but the charts are looking really good here. There are no bad signs at all if you get these kind of closes. Apt. Oh, holy! This looks insanely good. This looks really good. Let's do a screenshot. That looks really good. I'm gonna buy this. Okay, this looks good. Everything looks good, guys. We're looking good. Let's see how things close. All right. So you can if you get a sell-off in New York session, the daily will be skewed, and we won't look good because we can easily do like a 5% sell-off in New York session. But if we can range around these levels, we don't want too large candles either, right? You want something like this. You want price to hold this steady, right? So we can sell off a bit in New York, but we want to hold current levels. Okay, that would be the best option. I think most charts are looking pretty good. Pretty good. Really good, to be honest, guys. Yeah, we're looking good. I think WIF is if you're gonna trade a meme coin, buy some spot Dodge just to just to have it in your portfolio if you want, and then use like Pepe. No, sorry, WIF. No point. If all eyes is on WIF, we can use. There's no point trading another meme coin, right? It's just stick with what works. This looks good, really good, guys. I think this looks good. Very good. All right, let me know any questions. Don't overthink stuff with volume, right? The thing is, if you get that close, the thing is that how can I make this simple? How can I explain this simple? All right, so let me just here make an example. This is how a reversal look like. This is a 4-hour chart. Let's go to the daily. Okay, so the daily now has a wick. Okay, if price now closes, or we have a sell-off. Okay, we don't hold these prices. If it's starting to move lower, the daily candle will be red. Okay, that means that the flows are going lower. Okay, and we will sell off. If you hold these levels, there's I don't want to say no chance, but there's no chance we're going lower. Okay, that means that the next candle will be a bullish candle, and we will fill in the void to the upside. That's it. It's written. That's just how price action works. You just have to believe it. Okay, you can be wrong sometimes, right? I'm not saying that I know everything, but let me just a random example. Okay, I think this is not the same, but the point is the same. When you get a reversal in terms of the chart like this, you expect price, then it has to reverse upwards. Okay, it's not the same PA, but that's what happens. It's just part of the game, right? When a reversal happens, that means that you are squeezing the other side, right? That's it. And price is looking good now, but when you're trading the daily, everything goes much slower, right? So you look at the chart before New York open, it looks good. Then after New York, it looks bad because people are trading the New York session, guys. You know what I mean? Like, there are people on the other side of this. Sometimes you forget that there are actually other people trading this, right? Who has money, right? You're not trading with $1,000 portfolio. There are multi-millions, right? And if they sell, you can't do anything about it. That's it, right? So if you look at S&P 500, we're having this major sell-off. If big money is deciding to sell this off and we're closing back down at the lows, crypto will do that as well. You can't do nothing about it, okay? And that's just part of it, right? So we look good now. That means that we hold the trades. If you're getting that big sell-off in the New York session, you just have to exit the trades or whatever, and you have to readjust the plan. That's it. You can't do anything. But we're trying to predict what's going to happen, right? That's what we're doing. So we're trying to predict as well as we can what will happen, right? So we're having this, if the daily turns into a complete garbage, it's part of the game, right? That's it. You can't do anything about it. But since we're looking good, we trade it, all right? Bro, if you don't know this, does he recommend entry and exit in leverage? If you don't know these questions, you're just gonna lose money. Simple. It's like you're going into a boxing match and you say, I can't box. You're gonna lose the match. That's trading. Why is it different? It's like, imagine, it's like I've been trading for years. I use every single hour to study trading, right? And how can you come into the market and try to outperform me? It doesn't work that way. And the same goes for the gym, right? If you'd be sitting on your couch watching television 20 years, and then you suddenly go into the gym and you're trying to keep up with those who have been in the gym for the past 20 years. You got no chance. That's doesn't it seem like the general trend reversed to bearish? What do you mean? I don't understand. Which chart are we talking about? Generally, or no, trend doesn't really work like that. Right? So we have to use Bitcoin as a proxy, right? You can't use altcoins because altcoins has just low liquidity, right? So trend is depending on what time frame you're watching, right? But if you go into Bitcoin index, right, it's important this way to view price, right? So if you go to the to the weekly, let's go to log scale. We're going to the index, okay, and we do like this. All right, and then we just to make it simple for you, simple for your eyes, we have to use something just to explain what are we seeing in terms of price, right? So if I do this to you, right, would you say that the trend is up or down? Right? Like, what do you expect from this, right? Do you expect price to, maybe we get a dip, right? So, of course, this whole range is not too large, right? But what we expect from this is we expect that at some point it will be higher. Okay, I think let's use 250k just as a target. Okay, I don't know, I have no idea, but let's just use that as a level, right? You expect something like this. Okay, this looks correct. Now the only thing you can do is that you want to buy as low as possible, but you don't want to miss the opportunity. So what you are using is that you don't use trend in this sense. You understand cycles and seasonality, right? As I mentioned in the beginning of the video. We contract during summer months. We expand from October. That's all you need. You understand? That's all you need. Bear market is when we sell off if Christmas, if December and January and into February, like if it is selling off, that's a bear market. That's the definition. Like in cycle terms, that's the definition of a bear market. If we rally in January, we say we are still in a bull market. Can be wrong, but that's how we sort of determine. So if we use seasonality, that means that what do you expect in terms now of altcoins, right? We expect the same. We can have some bullish cycles. We can have in summer, of course. But so let's go now to a random altcoin. I think a proxy would be Solana. I think it's a good proxy for altcoins. And if we take it to log scale, the trend now is down, right? That's correct. The trend is down, but what is the ultimate goal here? The ultimate goal is for prices to go up, right? If you are in this business to short and be bearish, you are in the wrong business, right? You want price to go up because that's how you make like the majority of the money, risk-free, because you can do spot trading. So if now we are saying, all right, if the cycle now in terms of liquidity means that if Bitcoin is going to 250k, let's say our target for Solana is 400. If that's the target for Solana, that means that the trend is actually up, right? So the trend is actually up, even on a daily, right? So if I do this now, so if our target is 400, I can take it to candlesticks if it's easier for you guys. So if the target now is 400, and if I compress the chart, Is are we in an uptrend, in a downtrend? Now it suddenly looks like up. Now it looks like an uptrend. Like, so it depends. Just depends how you like. It's not real what is going on. That's why I'm trying. After a while, you just have to accept that everything is fake. Right? I can skew the chart the way I want it, and decide whatever I want to see. Right? So I can do like this, and I can say. We are in a bear market. We are in a bear market until next year. Right? This is my thesis. You can do this. It looks good, right? You can make up anything that you want, right? You can do this. It looks great, right? Doesn't this look great? You can do whatever, and then I will buy Solana at 40, and then I will take price, and then I will sell again at. You can make up anything that you want. All right, everything of this is just imaginary. Okay. Once you accept this, what I just explained, everything is different. Everything just hits different. So that's when at some point you just have to accept that this is actually what you're watching. Price moves based on seasons and cycles, right? And Bitcoin has one of the most beautiful cycles you ever seen in a chart. Yeah. Basically, that's correct. Because keep in mind, and it will always be extreme, right? Solana can go to, as I said, to $40, while Bitcoin is chilling at 55, right? We don't have enough price history for these kind of coins at all. Now, the interesting part, if I take you to S&P 500, right, which is where the seasonality is from, we can go here, log scale, and you can start, looking at. We need to do this. Okay, so I've been watching bar charts now for a few 1 week, 2 weeks, and it's better, if you're starting to watch that. But if you're starting to understand seasonality and look at this, right? So we're having different kind of cycles, right? If you look at this, we are still in a massive uptrend, okay? And the uptrend is actually from 2008. And I couldn't really comprehend this until recently, right? Look at this channel. How insane is this, right? Even the COVID times, we have a deviation out from the channel, right? Of course, nothing is perfect, and we will get to the extreme sides of everything, but we are staying inside this sort of channel, right? It's pretty insane. And that channel is how many years now? 14 years or something. Like it's insane, all right? So all of this is cycle based, and price does the exact same thing every single year. If we never had a massive sell-off ever in history, right? We have this small sell-off. Imagine being a bear, right? How can you be bear, right? You can't. So if you take price now, and if you overlay every single October, right? So let me just do this as a best example. Look at the bottom now. This here was the bottom of the previous bear market. All right, let's go to a weekly. Look at the time. Look at the bottom. October 2022. All right. When was next October? You see that bottom? October 2023. That's the bottom. All right. It's just the way the market works, right? So if you go back here, look at this dip here that I'm showing you now. That's October 2021. What happened? Rally, right? Go back. Anytime you go back, whatever. Look at the bottom here during 2020, right? October 2020 this consolidation, the bottom, and then the rally. Go back, right? Go back. No matter where you go back, right there, consolidation. Look at this. Consolidation, all right? Consolidation between May until September. Rally. We had a sell-off, doesn't matter. It's cycle-based. But seasonality, we rally in October, okay? This is, it's real, okay? And now we're having a massive sell-off. This is not looking too good, but we can contract here, right? We can contract. We can do something like this. You know, we can do a contraction, right? Of course, why not? Okay, we can do a contraction. If we contract here, that would be extremely bullish. Why do we have to go lower? We don't have to, but we can. That's absolutely possible. If we go lower and we move into some of these SR points, that's even better. We're gonna have a stronger rally in October, right? We're still trading based on the charts, right? So if you go back to Bitcoin now and look at the chart and understand, we are looking good there. We can still move lower, right? If you do get a sell-off into some of these levels, that would just be good. But we don't trade based on imaginary things, right? We understand cycles and we understand seasonality. So the idea for us is that we're trying to capture some trades into the summer months, but it's not before this time period when we are waiting to be aggressive levels, right? We know if you understand from seasonality and from cycles that August and September are bad. Like you can go into, give me one second. If you're having October and September, it's always bad. If you have this data, right? This data is real. It's there. It's available for everyone. So that means that we are waiting for October, okay? And we are being cautious until then. So we are not surprised if we do get a pullback and we trade sideways during all these months. But when we get buy signals, okay, so then we're having the second thing. That's why we go to the 8-hour chart. And we have a system, right? When we're having buy signals, a big sell-off to the extreme side, we take the trade, right? So the trade is, what? We have an entry at the best given price. We will take profits, right? Whatever, I don't remember where we entered, something like this, right? We're doing a good trade, but we take profits because we understand that we are in a contraction phase. So we are more aggressive on taking profits, right? But if this was October, we would not take profit, okay? If we were now in September, I would say this is the generational bottom, right? If this was September, I would say this is the bottom. Our target is minimum 100K or at least 80, right? Something like that, right? That would be completely different. But now since we are in a contraction phase, we want to take profit and lock those money in. Because if we are contracting, what are we doing? We're creating a range. We buy the low part of the range, we sell the top of the range, or whenever we get buy and sell signals. All right, a bit longer video, guys, I know, but I think I wanted to get a message across. This is too new, you know. Well, this is. You can't get anything from a chart like this, you know. Like even Bitcoin, 15 years of price history, we don't have enough data. You know, this is 2 months. Whatever the whales or whoever controls the token, he can do whatever he wants with it, right? If one guy who has a lot of tokens decides to sell, he can wipe the book with one button, right? It's just how it is. All right, so that's it. If you got any other questions, I would close the video. All right, guys, let's talk there. Peace out.